We're gonna be maybe soft with the trigger.
Yeah.
Maybe I like you talking about the pace not being too slow, having a little more rhythm. 1, 2. Fastest way to get rid of the yips if you got a 2-footer, 3-footer that you're worried about, just count 1, 2. Okay, so we have a shot here that we have to fly it more than 50% of the way, right? So immediately the club face opens for Shane. He knows that, it's automatic, he's not even thinking about it. Club face opens, ball moves a little bit ahead of center, 2 variables that make the ball go up in the air and land a little bit softer without having to try. Well, that was nice. You know, I always tell my players, don't help it in the air. You know, you have 60 degrees aloft here. We're opening the face a lot, for me, everybody doesn't have to open it that much, but any amount you open, that's adding loft to a 60-degree club face. The club's loft and ball position will get that ball up, and the danger of what so many do is they try to help up. You know all about the knife at the left side of the temple for the driver? Don't charge it, stay behind it. In the short game, the rule of thumb, you never back up. You never back up, and you never help. And a lot of times when people see that shot with a bunker in front of them, and they want to hit it over that bunker, what do? They get in here and they want to go this way. Now you're really adding loft to it, but also you're taking the top of your pendulum and moving it back. Bad contact as well. The ball will slide up the club face. That's the one that ends short, or you blade it over the green. Keep that knife at the right side of the temple there and make sure you stay forward. He's got the ball slightly forward, ahead of his sternum. Yeah, see, there's no help up to those, but yet those are getting up high enough. Using the angles to my favor, the path of the least amount of manipulation is never more true than it is in the short game, where we're quite literally presetting our impact position and where we want to be with the shot here. Now, something that's incredibly important to know for every golfer, when they open the club face, the ball will not go in the direction that the leading edge is pointed. If I was pointing this at the camera, right here, okay, and I'm coming towards you, and the face is pointed over there, and I swing towards you, the ball will ride up that face and go in the direction of the momentum of the swing. If I were to turn that into a putter face, flat, and then go towards you, yeah, the ball's gonna go in the direction of the face then. Okay, very important to understand that, because a lot of people aim left thinking the ball is gonna come out right. No, it's their swing manipulating it out right that's making it go there if they do get it out to the right, not the club face. So, you know, just to give a good example of that, here, Kev, get behind me here. Let's hit one like right over this flag in front of me, okay? Chimney up on the clubhouse. You can see that, everybody? Okay, and watch. I'm opening the face and pointing it, you know, over here, right at these flags, and I'm gonna swing right down the line of this flag over here. And look where that thing's going, you know? And there's only about a foot off, but right down that line right there. Really important for the golfer to know that. That face was wide open, pointed out this direction. Those are some misconceptions that people have, but then you think about why wedges don't draw as much and why a 6-iron with the same swing would all of a sudden hook. Well, it's that side spin because of the fact that the face angle is going to make that ball do that rather than having the underspin, which is actually going to hold the ball straighter, okay? I'm going to give you a hard time about this again. There's 0 trigger there. One thing that made a huge difference last year and really led to some great tournament play, we had a little bit of a trigger set, much like Matt Wolff actually has in his swing, right? Where he feels impact, bounces out of it, and gets right back into it. We would have him open up his left pocket and press his hands a little bit forward, and then right back into the shot. Shoot, I should start doing that. Is that gonna go in? Oh gosh. Oh, wow. But no, you know what it did? People get stagnant over the ball. They get frozen. They think. And that doesn't help the fluidity and the ability to be athletic. So I wanna get some of his athleticism out, and I wanna get him
I'm trying
flowing.
like 1-2 in my head.
It's good.
I also am trying to go faster. A few practice swings and then just kind of like.
That was nice again. Beautiful. We're gonna be maybe soft with the trigger.
Yeah.
Maybe I like you talking about the pace not being too slow, having a little more rhythm. 1, 2. It looks like it keeps you more committed to the shot.
Yeah.
Does that?
I mean, if I say 1-2, it also just takes my mind off of negative thoughts.
That's big. Fastest way to get rid of the yips if you got a 2-footer, 3-footer that you're worried about, just count 1, 2. Yeah, that'll do. Give me a little higher, softer one over the right flag over here. Little floater. Yeah, Yeah, those are gorgeous right there. Let's go up and hit some of the little runners, okay?
Okay.
You know, the shot we're going to hit now, more of a bump and run style shot. A ball that's going to land within that first third, run out the 2/3. Now, bump and run can be on the ground in the first 1/10 and run out 9/10. But we at least break it down for our players, saying what style of shot you're going to hit, the bare bones basics of it. If you want it in the air for 2/3 and only running out a third, that's the ball forward, face open. If you want the ball on the ground in the first third, running out 2/3, that's ball back, face more square. So we're going to talk about that here. You can see how the ball's off that back foot, but here's the more importantly than the back foot. It's closer to his back armpit, right? Because ball position's relative to his center. So he has the weight forward, ball back. And what's nice is you can see these balls are just running out beautifully here. You want to get it on the ground and make it predictable. I think too many people put the ball in no man's land right here with the ball in the middle of their stance. They get the stance too wide, and then they get this look where they kind of come into it scoopy, and it's not going to be very predictable. What I like to make sure I do, I like to see my players really get that ball back there, really get that weight forward. I'm really presetting impact before I even pull the trigger. And you can see it's just very simple compact motion where I'm just returning back to the same spot I started. It's predictable. The ball's going to run out. I want this shot being predictable. There's nothing worse than hitting this shot and having it spin early and end up 6-7 feet short, or come out like a complete knuckleball and you didn't plan for it and it goes 10 feet long. Now Shane's doing a great job of this right now, but a lot of times our viewers, they'll use their arms isolated from the body, and that's when the club starts swinging through like a windshield wiper. One thing that Shane does well is he keeps his elbows very together, and he keeps them together, and that forces his body to turn his arms and hands back and through. So he's literally just using the rotation of his body to hit this golf shot, very little hands isolated of his body. The shot over there, we would say the same thing. We'd say that the setup is doing most of the work for us. But when you're hitting a higher shot, of course, there's always a little touch involved, right? But this shot right here, it's those hands shouldn't be doing much. Give me a little lower one, okay? And this is a shot, guys. This can be hit with a 60, it can be hit with 56, it can be hit with a 52 or a 50, it can be hit with a pitching wedge, it can be hit all the way up to an 8-iron. Get that weight a little bit more forward for me. Get that left shoulder lower. This ball should have a little bit more tumble to it.
Okay.
There it is. See how I think it tumbles out right there?
Yeah.
That was my favorite one of all of them. All I told Shane to do, you guys, was this. Doesn't matter if he's on an upslope or downslope or anything. The shoulders should always drop down a little bit. Now think of the logic in that. Even if I took a putting stroke with no hinge, that would create a little bit of an angle of attack. And it's very important to have a little angle of attack, because if I put this golf ball behind Shane's ball here, a good 6-7 inches behind the ball, he should be able to miss that ball in both directions. See how the ball came out low and tight and ran? I'm literally feeling like the Leaning Tower of Pisa going this way. Everything leans with me. People have a real hard time with the really short ones a lot of times, and you want to know why? It's because they don't create any angle of attack. They have that real short chip, and Kev, getting here close, they got that real short one, and it looks like this. The club kind of stays real low and back there. Well, how the heck is that ever going to get underneath the golf ball? There's no chance. If you want to get underneath the golf ball, the club still needs to get off the ground, even though it's a short motion, and that's going to come from the angle that you create with your setup and getting the left shoulder low. Here we are in practice, right? We'll do the best we can to create an on-course environment for Shane. A lot of times with the short game, I'll take him out on the golf course. We'll chip a little bit out there. That's definitely one thing. I would definitely say that he's a guy that when you see somebody chip, for the most part, very well here, and sometimes go to the course and it doesn't translate over, okay, beyond having that trigger that keeps him athletic, that keeps him moving, maybe a more upbeat pre-shot routine that doesn't get him, like I said, stagnant over the golf ball. The other part of that is games. He needs to be a guy who picks a medium difficulty shot, an easy one and a hard one, has to get all three up and down before he goes home. Put a little bit of weight on the practice, because, anybody can sit here and eventually groove it. It's stepping up on that first shot and nailing it.
Yeah.
Another thing I tell him is, other than right now where we're just working on the technique, randomize it a little bit. Hit that shot, then hit the bump and run to that flag, then hit one little higher, softer one to a short-sided flag, then go back to that shot. Sometimes that helps because you're changing the shot every time, changing the feel, and that way he's not using just solely his athleticism to eventually get a flow that he's repetitive with. Well, anybody can do that. It's that showing up to that first shot and making that one count.